Hello everyone, welcome back for another video. Hope that you are all doing well and that you are all having a great day. To start things off, independent financial consulting company Verge Group, which provides investment and wealth management services, has predicted that the price of Ethereum could hit $2,500 by the end of the year. The financial consultancy firm said that the second largest cryptocurrency could see a significant rise, predicting its fourfold increase thanks to growing adoption of the digital currency as well as the use of smart contracts. Nigel Green, who is the founder and CEO of Verge Group, told MarketWatch, "The price of Ethereum is predicted to increase significantly this year and could hit $2,500 by the end of 2018, with a further increase by 2019 and 2020. This general upswing will be fueled by three main drivers. First, more and more platforms are using Ethereum as a means of trading. Second, the increased use of smart contracts by Ethereum. And third, the decentralization of cloud computing." Me personally, I feel like 2,500 is still a very conservative number, if you will. The amount of upgrades that are planned for Ethereum and the things that will be coming out to the platform and the amount of other ICOs that are going to be built on top of Ethereum once the new upgrades have rolled out. I have constantly said I think $3,000 to $5,000 per Ethereum is definitely a possibility this year. I know some other people may disagree with me, but just because of what Ethereum is and what Ethereum stands for, and once again, there are a lot of very wealthy people who own Ethereum. They are going to do exactly what they have done with Bitcoin. They're going to make sure that Ethereum survives. I'm a very big believer in both EOS and Ethereum. There's a lot of talk that EOS could potentially pass by Ethereum sometime this year. But I think if Ethereum is quick enough, I think they may be able to stay ahead. And realistically, once we have Plasma and Casper on Ethereum, I think it's going to take a lot to bring them down. Next up, there is news about Bitcoin Cash and how they plan on adding bigger blocks and smart contracts to their platform. Bitcoin Cash's next upgrade may be even more ambitious than its first. In fact, announced in November and slated for May 15th, packages together a number of features that all seem to help the network process more transactions than the original Bitcoin, while adding more variety to its features. Perhaps most notably, the change will quadruple Bitcoin Cash's block size parameter from 8 MB to 32 MB, which is crazy, allowing for vastly more transactions per block. Indeed, Joshua Yabut, who contributes to the Bitcoin Cash protocol main software implementation, Bitcoin ABC, said he doesn't expect any protests at all when users are finally given the choice to upgrade software. On top of this, they also plan on adding smart contracts that they say that Satoshi Nakamoto originally had in the software, but it took out for some reason. Not only did Bitcoin Cash developers pack in features, but they've also added back some of the old capabilities that Bitcoin creator Satoshi Nakamoto stripped from the original protocol early on. The most notable here is the addition of new kinds of smart contracts or dynamic if-then programming statements that can give added functionality to how Bitcoin Cash tokens can pass between users. They're trying, or at least they spoke about this on the original Bitcoin as well, talking about that they planned on adding some type of smart contract feature. I'm not exactly sure if they're still going ahead with this or they're focusing on other projects, but it seems like in order to be able to keep up, you need to implement smart contracts, because a lot of these things will be used, or the idea is that they will be used by many companies and countries in the future when you're trying to do transactions or to prove that things have happened on the blockchain. If you were trying to sell something, if you're trying to sell property, a car, say something is in your name, these things will go through smart contracts. Once, the one side has paid their money, then the other money will eventually go through. So it seems that they're also trying to make sure to grab a hold of this market. We'll be talking about Bitcoin Cash a bit later on in the video. Verge is once again in the news. A lot of people weren't too happy or thrilled when they announced their last two partnerships. But recently, TokenPay has mentioned a partnership with Verge and the XVG debit cards, which are scheduled to be launched. TokenPay recently tweeted, "Our bank deal in Germany, as outlined in the ecosystem report, has now been signed several weeks ahead of schedule. Closing is expected to occur before the next weekend, and an official announcement will follow. TPay and XVG debit cards coming soon. So there was... when we got the news that Verge was releasing their partnerships, and it was these two companies, a lot of people weren't too happy. And then there was other news that they actually have other partnerships also in the works, but they're kind of, I guess, holding back or waiting for the right time. But I'm pretty sure that they probably have other partnerships in the works that they're trying to work on in some sort of fashion, because Verge is a very popular coin. They're up there. It's Verge, Tron, and there's another one, Cardano, and maybe a fourth one. These are like the next generation crypto coins a lot of people have their sights on. So I'm sure that they're going to try and pull out all the stops, especially when they're trying to make a name for themselves. Next up, this is kind of crazy. So Ethereum, Omise Go, and Cardano creators have announced that they are boycotting Consensus 2018 after some crazy stuff went down. According to Bloomberg, the creators of Ethereum, Cardano, and Omise Go, some of the biggest public blockchain protocols and cryptocurrencies, are boycotting the largest cryptocurrency conference, Consensus, after a controversial report about Omise Go's surge in price was published on April 26. Consensus 2018 is the leading cryptocurrency conference hosted by cryptocurrency media outlet CoinDesk, who I use often. The event, which is often hosted in the second quarter of every year, attracts many of the most influential projects, developers, investors, and public figures in both the financial sector and cryptocurrency industry. However, Ethereum creators Vitalik Buterin and Charles Hoskin, the Omise Go team, and it says Cosmos, I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be Cardano, team have announced that they will not attend this year's Consensus 2018 event after CoinDesk reported about the rise in the value of Omise Go, which included a section about a fake Omise Go giveaway. So to put it clearly, one, Consensus is a major event, and Ethereum is always there. They're always there. Everyone looks forward to the Omise Go area, to the Ethereum area, to see what they have to say, what's going on, what are the next things that are going to be happening in the project. And the fact that they're not going to be there, Cardano or Omise Go, is a literal slap in the face. But it comes down to CoinDesk posted something. I'm sure you've seen these things on social media before, especially on Twitter, where someone says, send me 0.3 of this coin and I will definitely send you 3 of this. There was something online that says send 0.3 Omise Go and you will get 3 Omise Go. The fact that people still fall for these things is kind of spectacular and just shows what kind of world that we live in. But apparently CoinDesk reported that they were actually in on this, that this was not indeed a scam, that it was something that Omise Go ran and that they were trying to pretty much get people out of their money, which is absolutely ridiculous. And when this was found out, they kind of came forward and said, how dare you say all of this about Omise Go, especially because Vitalik is one of the people, I think he's one of their, what's the word? Not one of the developers on Omise Go, but he's one of the people, oh gosh, what's the word? Who helps the Omise Go team, however you want to call it. So this is causing a huge amount of backlash. It's left to be seen if other crypto teams will kind of come forward and say that they are also not going to be there. But CoinDesk has had a lot of problems. To be fair, to be completely 100% fair, there are about 7, 10, 11, somewhere in between that number, that are reputable news sources for cryptocurrencies. And at some point or other, they have all leaned to a certain side. And if you, like I said, always read between the lines, make sure to read the good and the bad in what you're reading, who have all come out at some point against a certain coin, or have said something like not even negative, something that was completely false, and they posted it anyway. Because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of, there's another website, I'm not going to name the name, they're obsessed with Bitcoin, and it's not bitcoin.com. It's another website. And when you read their articles about any altcoin, and I don't mean even Ethereum, Litecoin, anything that is not Bitcoin, they make sure to drag it through the mud as much as possible. They'll give you good news while still spitting in your face. I'll kind of say it like that. So every single different news website is responsible for these things, but it seems like CoinDesk may have done this one too many times. And as of now, it seems that CoinDesk has actually taken down the article, which they've done many times before in the past, and they've apologized. Not to say that they're off the hook, but I think this will have a few shockwaves, especially because they are the people who are doing the consensus event. So kind of crazy. Next up, France is in the news. They have apparently changed the tax on crypto to down from 45% to 19%, indicating that it is now movable property. France's Conseil d'Etat, the Council of State, has changed the tax rate on cryptocurrency sales to a flat rate of 19%, rather than up to 45% like it was before. Local news outlet Le Monde reported on Thursday the Council of State said that the tax change comes from the new classification of Bitcoin, separate from commercial or non-commercial activity. The fact that it was ever 45% or could have ever gotten up to 45% is just a complete mistake. This is what I said before, the countries that have the highest tax will not benefit from cryptocurrencies. These are also the countries that are the most opposed or trying to regulate cryptocurrencies as quick as possible because they simply don't understand. And they also said something else about mining, about crypto mining as well. I think this will still be taxed at 45% in the country. Not to get into French or European politics, there are a lot of millionaires and there are a few billionaires who actually live in France who are now moving to Monaco and are now moving to Switzerland because there was, I think, one point that France was trying to tax people, like millionaires in general, I think almost 90% of their yearly income. I'm pretty sure it was 90 because I remember seeing it on the news. So France is going to have a really hard time if they don't get it together when it comes to cryptocurrencies, because a lot of people will be leaving their country. There's a lot of controversy floating around Bitcoin Cash at the moment, which we will slowly work our way into. Biotech company turned cryptocurrency investment firm Riot Blockchain is not long on Bitcoin Cash. That's one of several revelations from a recent public filing that provides an overview of the Colorado-based company's 2017 financial results. The NASDAQ-listed firm, which reports that it had 3,500 Bitmain miners, which is crazy, deployed at a data center in Oklahoma City at the end of March, and intends to have 8,000 miners running by the end of May, said that it presently converts any Bitcoin Cash mined to Bitcoin on a regular basis. In March, Riot Blockchain mined approximately 69 Bitcoin in 44 Bitcoin Cash, collectively worth about $670,000 at the time of writing. When fully deployed, Riot expects its presently owned hashing power to be over 110 petahash. That's insane, which it believes would rank the company among the largest publicly listed cryptocurrency mining operations. There's a huge movement, and I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, as of now, we know that Bitcoin is king. This is, we can't dispute it as much as, like I said, I believe it is another point. Another coin will push Bitcoin out of the way. Say what you will. But there are a lot of organizations and companies who are mining cryptocurrencies who are completely cashing out of Bitcoin Cash, and they're just buying into Bitcoin, especially because of all the crazy price predictions that we have for Bitcoin over the next coming years. There's also controversy behind Bitcoin Cash. We spoke a couple of days ago. I can't remember exactly who's doing it, but someone or some company or organization, they're burning their Bitcoin Cash so that they can decrease the supply that is kind of floating around. And a lot of people think that this is just being done to kind of have a scarcity with the coin in order so that more people think that there's less of it and then therefore will start dumping their money into Bitcoin Cash. I am in favor of Bitcoin simply because this was the first coin that I ever saw, and I'm not against Bitcoin Cash, but there seems to be a dramatic shift in what's happening with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash right now, and this is not going to end anytime soon. I don't think it's going to end probably within the next 10 years of the world of cryptocurrencies. Sliding into this one, there's now a huge thing going on where 600 Bitcoin The original Bitcoin users are actually trying to get a lawsuit going against Bitcoin.com, which is the official website of Bitcoin Cash. They got the domain name very early, and as you might imagine, it leads to a lot of confusion. A community movement that has grown to over 600 individuals in just 2 days is pursuing legal action against Bitcoin.com and its owner, Roger Ver, for deliberately misleading new users into buying Bitcoin Cash instead of Bitcoin. Without going into the entire thing, when you type in buy Bitcoin on Google, the first thing that you get after the ads is Bitcoin.com, which is the official website of Bitcoin Cash. And a lot of people are saying that they have, or they feel that they were duped, allegedly, because when you are on it, it says buy Bitcoin Cash with credit card, and right below it, it says buy Bitcoin Core. And as many people have never heard of Bitcoin Core, they assume that it is something else entirely different from what the original Bitcoin is. So they end up buying this one first, especially as a number of websites, I'm sure you may have seen it around if you are buying or selling or trading or have clicked on anything that says Bitcoin Cash. This is usually a green symbol, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of people say that they have been misled when they are trying to buy it. Even further is that they have, I believe, changed the name of these things on the website. They have changed the name of Bitcoin Cash on the website to simply Bitcoin. And I believe Bitcoin, like the original Bitcoin, is now called Bitcoin Core. As you can see, BTC, Bitcoin Core. So this leads to a lot more confusion. I think they have a photo of it. Earlier this week, Bitcoin.com underwent changes to present Bitcoin Cash as Bitcoin, most notably the Block Explorer, which changed from BTC as Bitcoin Cash to Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin as BCH. So Roger Ver is a huge backer of Bitcoin Cash. He says that this is the original idea behind Satoshi Nakamoto's vision. I believe he says that he also knows him or has met him, or they know each other. They talk on Facebook or something like that. They tweet each other, whatever the case might be. He says that Bitcoin Cash is what it should be, and as such, I believe he's one of the few people in the world who actually refers to it simply as Bitcoin, and he calls the original Bitcoin an altcoin. Not going to get into it. I have my own opinions, but a lot of people are not too happy with what is happening, and there's just so much controversy going around Bitcoin Cash, and I wish that there was kind of a way to simplify it or kind of like clear the air, because I think they could both have a place in the ecosystem, but it's just like this ravenous community. Crypto is very tribal. If you haven't noticed, I've noticed in the comment section, if I say anything slightly negative about any coin, people try to tear me and other commenters apart. Kind of just what it is, I guess. A lot of people have a lot of time on their hands. I don't know what it is. But I think this is going to be going on for a long time, and I hope that Roger Ver, I don't want to say he's scamming people, but he has his own beliefs. So whatever, I'm done. I'm not gonna even go into it because it's such a deep pool to dive into. Last up, the SEC is once again in the news. Without reading the entire thing, the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Appropriations held a hearing with the Wall Street regulator on April 26, and they explored regulating cryptocurrencies and what they still seem to believe exists in a Wild West environment. SEC Chairman Jay Clayton was looked to as an authority on the topic of cryptocurrencies, and what was his maiden testimony before this specific committee. It comes down to, they are saying that overall, they do not think that Bitcoin is not a security, but they believe that every single other coin and ICO, that they are all securities and therefore should fall under the jurisdiction of the SEC. And I want you to let that sink in for a second. I spoke about this a day or two ago as well when there was some other news. And part of the problem is that other cryptocurrencies that have already launched aside, all the new ICOs and what they're saying about potentially Ethereum and Ripple, and especially any other coin that we have been talking about over the last couple of weeks or anything that is going to launch, the SEC is saying that if these coins launch, you should have to register your coins with the American government. Tell them exactly how many you have, where you got it from, and they're supposed to know about the movement of these coins. And I'm pretty sure you can see how that might be a problem to a lot of people, especially for the people who are creating these coins. They did not create these coins under the impression that they would be, or at least people in America would be required to have to come forward and tell the American government exactly how many that they are owning. There is not even a slight silver lining. A lot of people have started coming forward and they're saying that America is risking throwing so much dirt on top of cryptocurrencies because they're so afraid of it, as opposed to just waiting and seeing exactly what they can do, that they're going to hamper the creation or the building of the cryptocurrency movement and blockchain movement in America, and people will simply move to another country. There was a guy, he was saying a day or two ago, he said so many countries don't understand what's going on. He said, can you imagine if in 1994, a whole bunch of countries heard about the internet and they were like, no one's going to use the internet. And up to this point, like today, they hadn't integrated the internet. What would have happened to these countries? What would have happened? Like what would have happened to their infrastructure? No one would be sending them telegraph messages or like carrier pigeons to let them know exactly what's going on in the world. So it's all kind of it's kind of ridiculous what's going on. I understand that countries are afraid, but I'm glad that we have a lot of companies and organizations and other people who are creating cryptocurrencies coming forward to talk to these people to let them know that this isn't some scary, dramatic thing. It's one thing to regulate cryptocurrency exchanges, but to think that they'll be able to regulate the coins themselves might indeed be the silliest thing that I think I've heard this entire year thus far. I'm hoping that the SEC and the US government kind of does more work. And a lot of people are saying also that because cryptocurrencies are a completely new world, which they are, people in traditional finance have said that they had expected finance to go the same for the next 100 years. They hadn't expected it to change or change so rapidly because their current laws do not apply to cryptocurrencies because they're different. And as such, they may even be possibly be looking into creating new laws that would affect cryptocurrencies themselves, because laws that we have now should not be that were made 70, 80 years ago should not be affecting some type of new technology. It makes no sense. It hampers the creation and innovation of these coins, and as such, it probably should not be going through. But yeah, not to spend too much time on this, as I already have on this one topic. That is going to do it for this video. Once again, an extremely heavy news day. There hasn't been one day that has gone by that hasn't been absolutely insane with the amount of news that's coming out, but it's kind of good. It's good that we're getting very optimistic, very good news. Well, I mean, not this story, but it is what it is. That we're getting things kind of when the market was going down, we got maybe like 2 news stories in the entire day because I think it was such a pessimistic area that was kind of floating around. But now with all these new price predictions, all these new upgrades, all these new partnerships, I'm still fairly confident that 2018 is going to be a very exciting year for cryptocurrencies. I hope you guys all have a great day, great afternoon, great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be, whatever you might be doing. Thank you once again for all of the support. And like always, I will talk to you all soon. See you.